So it's been a week since Operation Tenfold has released, so let's talk about it. I want to make it clear that this video is coming from the PlayStation 5 version of Siege, and I'm not talking about ranked. So if you wanted me to talk about the cheating issues or the ranked issues, there you go. I talked about them. I don't really play ranked, and I don't play competitive shooters on PC. This is rather a review of my impressions of what's in the game currently. So let's get the elephant out of the room. The Fortress rework is fine. I haven't played it in multiplayer yet, mostly because I've played Fortress a ton before it was reworked, so it's one of the maps that I know pretty well. So having to relearn the map is honestly going to take some time. It's not like a bad rework, I just don't really like it because I felt Fortress was already fine as a map to begin with. I don't really understand why people didn't like it, but I guess it's not my place to understand. The rework is fine, it's just going to take some time for me to relearn it. Thatcher is actually pretty cool. I like how his gadget works. My only issue is that he basically replaces IQ, so that's fun. He's IQ but better. The only benefit she has is she can use her pistol while scanning, but even that's whatever. I can't really comment on the new weapon. I used it in the test server, but that's about it. I've stopped buying battle passes a long time ago, so I didn't buy this one either. From what little I've been able to use of the new weapon, it seems like it's going to be a really good DMR for a few weeks, and then they're just going to nerf it. So, yippee. Also, apparently you can equip the new weapon without having it unlocked, and if you do that, and you select the operator that has that weapon equipped, the game just crashes. So that's nice. Thanks, Ubisoft. Now with that out of the way, there's a few things that we're going to talk about. Mostly Clearhouse, but we'll get to that in a bit. First up, we have to talk about the new AI bots they added into the AI bot mode. I can't believe I'm saying this, but Ubisoft actually cooked here. I'm not saying the AI is smart, it isn't, but I'm actually impressed that they were able to put friendly AI in the game. It took 10 years, but we finally have friendly AI companions in Rainbow Six Siege. Wild times we're living in. Also, on that note, it's insane that 27 years after the first game launched, we are finally able to play a Rainbow Six Games PvP multiplayer against AI bots. That's really freaking cool. This season, the AI mode is actually decently fun. I'm not a huge fan of it just being bomb, and the fact you can barely play half the roster is kinda lame, but it's still kinda cool. Credit where credit is due. Ubisoft does seem invested in this mode, so I gotta give them props here. Though, weirdly, the AI bots don't speak. I'm not saying they don't use voice chat or anything. I'm saying that the characters they control don't have any voice lines at all. And I think this is an intentional decision too, because the operators for human players work. They speak when doing actions. Also, you're not told when there's only one enemy left by the announcer, and this has been a case since the mode was introduced back when Tubarão came out. So I think for some reason this is a deliberate decision by the developers. All in all though, field training is finally fun. I can't wait to finally have all the content base Siege has. Alright, now we have to talk about Clearhouse. Clearhouse is the fourth attempt Ubisoft has made to have a PvE environment in the game, and sadly, I don't think they hit the mark. In case you're confused, let me explain. In Year 8 Season 4, Ubisoft removed the already existing PvE mode Terrorist Hunt in favor for technically 3 new modes. Target Drill, Landmark Drill, and Versus AI, which is now Field Training. Versus AI was pretty bad at that point. Landmark Drill I don't think anyone knows exists, and Target Drill felt like a cheap knockoff of what Terrorist Hunt was supposed to be. However, there was a little charm to the original Target Drill. It was a simple but in-depth aim trainer, where the game gave you stats on the amount of damage you took instead of dying. Target Drill was a lame and boring version of Terrorist Hunt, but it served the purpose of being a warm-up mode decently well. It just wasn't fun to play. At some point, I don't remember when, Ubisoft released another version of Target Drill called Endless Drill. This was a joke of a mode. It was Target Drill, but this time the targets all spawned on the same floor, and it wasn't endless. It had an hour-long time limit. For some reason. I don't know why. Endless Drill sucked balls. It wasn't fun because it was an endless loop. There was no challenge either, and the destructible walls didn't regenerate, so don't blow up the walls, I guess. I didn't understand the point of the mode at all. Target Drill made sense because you could win the mode. Endless Drill did not make sense, but apparently I'm in the minority opinion on that one, because at another unknown time, Ubisoft just replaced Target Drill with Endless Drill, but kept the name Target Drill, So basically, Target Drill up until this season was the Endless Drill version, and there was no way to win. That was pretty stupid, honestly. So in enters Clear House. What is Clear House? It's Endless Drill, but there's actual human enemies this time. Make no mistake, if you were told or are hearing that Clear House is the return of Terrorist Hunt, that is a false statement. Clear House is not Terrorist Hunt. It's just Endless Drill with different enemies to fight. You can pick between dummies or the Carries Legion, who are the current bad guys in Siege lore. If you pick the dummies, they just stand around waiting to be shot. They don't move and they don't shoot back, which is kinda lame. If you pick the Carries Legion, they just stand around waiting to be shot, and then sometimes they will defend themselves from you. That's about it. Clear House is just Target Drill, but the enemies can move and you can die. Not that dying matters, as you'll just respawn in 2 seconds anyway. But okay, fine. Maybe the mode isn't that good on the surface. What if you dig a little deeper? Well, there's not much. The Carries Legion are just as bland as the dummies. They have like 5 voice lines and it's just to announce that they are reloading. They don't talk with each other, or comment that they see you, or act like real people at all. I'm honestly amazed the reloading quotes work. They barely even scream when they're shot too, so that's super disappointing. In truth, they're kinda lifeless. Additionally, there's only one class of enemies. They all have the Commando 9. They don't use anything else, but the thumbnail for some reason shows one with a shotgun. So that's nice. Apparently, they have impact grenades. I've never seen them use impact grenades once. They are not allowed to reinforce walls or barricade doors. However, they are able to break down barricades and shoot Raura's little door panels. I don't know why they can do that, but they can. This is their only interaction with the player's gadgets. They ignore drones. They ignore claymores. They do interact with grenades, kind of. They will run away from them, but not often. They'll also run away from the gas pipes if you shoot them, so that's kind of interesting. By far the worst thing, though, is that they aren't allowed to move around. Sure, 1 or 2 of them might patrol around the map, and if you shoot at them on the hardest difficulty, they might move to your position, but an arbitrary number are spawned on a random floor of the building, and that's where they stay. They do not move between floors. And like I said, the number that spawns is arbitrary. It's usually between 11 and 16, depending on map size. This means that on some bigger maps, there's just a group of them that are just in rooms by themselves. Make no mistake, the AI is not better than in old Terrorist Hunt. If someone tells you it is, they're either lying or haven't played Terrorist Hunt in the last 2 years. The AI this time around is objectively stupid, but it's allowed to one-tap you with headshots, knife you, and prone, which to some people means that it's smarter. Now, Clear House could actually be really special. As it stands, this is just like barely a proof of concept mode. There's not really anything you can do on this mode you couldn't do a couple of years ago better. In fact, there's less to do. Since it's a variation of Endless Drill, there's no way to win. They could have at the very least left Endless Drill in as a mode where you fought dummies, and Clear House you had a set number of enemies you had to clear out. Clearing house. That would have been kinda cool and could have been advertised as a return of Terrorist Hunt, even if the AI didn't reinforce or barricade. There would have been something to do. The biggest issue with it right now is that it's more bland than the original Target Drill. Target Drill was as bottom of the barrel as you can get, so I guess this is technically slightly above it, but Target Drill has one thing over Clear House. You can beat Target Drill. You can't beat Clear House unless you manually end the game or wait out the hour-long timer. Now, I know some people are going to say, just wait for them to update the mode, to which I say, make a good mode to start with. I don't doubt they might have some cool ideas for Clear House going forward. That's the problem. They want to introduce these new features as new content. I get it. They want to have stuff to advertise with each season. It's kind of lazy, kind of stupid, but I get the strategy. You gotta have something out there to advertise because gamers need new things constantly. I don't respect this mindset, I actually kinda hate it, but I digress. I will, however, give Clear House props for one thing I liked about it. While I was getting footage for Clear House, I was playing it in co-op with my dad. My dad and I have played every single Rainbow Six game ever made, and we've done the Terrorist Hunt mode on all of them as well, including Siege. When we tried this mode together, by playing the game slow and tactically, there was a little bit of fun to be had. Crazy how the best way to play this mode is by handicapping yourself so that you have to take the mindless warm-up mode seriously. Also, you kinda have to play with someone who's not very familiar with Siege. By playing this way, I did have a little fun. Now that's probably because I was playing it with a loved one more than playing the mode itself, but there were a couple of things I liked about this mode. On Nighthaven, for example, the carry soldiers respawned behind us, which was kinda cool and reminded me of how the AI in Vegas 1 and 2 worked. I also liked playing this mode on the Stadium maps. Stadium was never available in Terrorist Hunt in the past, and there's a fun sense of catharsism fighting masked terrorists on the goofiest maps in the game. I like it for those two maps specifically. I'm also going to give props to Ubisoft for listening. I honestly do think they never intended or wanted to put terrorists back into Siege after they took them out, but the backlash against removing Terrorist Hunt made them change their mind. The only reason I say this is because if they were in fact going to have AI terrorists in a training mode, there was no reason to remove Terrorist Hunt in the first place. If the intention was to always bring back terrorists, they would have just had them as the enemies in the new target drill mode. So, I do think that they never intended on putting AI terrorists back into Siege, except for maybe some sort of special one-off event or something. But they listened to fans upset at its removal and put them back in. And I really respect them for that, even though the mode is super bare bones and lackluster. Now, how can Ubisoft fix this mode, or at the very least, improve it? Well, first they have to actually take a risk. I know a lot of Pro League players are going to piss their pants when I say this, but the mode needs challenge and risk. You should have a fail state. There should be a way to not only win, but also lose that doesn't involve you stopping the mode or running out the hour-long clock. Something as simple as 3 lives, 50 enemies, and 30 minutes would be more than enough. There's really no reason why we shouldn't have that as a customizable option. Also, the enemies have to spawn on all the floors in the building. No single floor wave BS. This is just so boring. Now, I understand Ubisoft is probably just going to do the bare minimum to this mode going forward, and I really doubt they'll ever try to make this like Terrorist Hunt was. So assuming that that is in fact true, I'm going to offer a compromise to make this mode both fun, but also a really good learning and warm-up tool. Combine it with Landmark Drill. Landmark Drill is a mode no one knows is in the game. The idea for the mode is you spawn on the map somewhere, and you have to run to one of the map's bomb sites and interact with the tablet. You repeat this until you get bored, but I think there is an actual ending too. It's a very simple mode, but this could actually work really well combined with Clear House. Essentially, if you play as an attacker, the objective should be you have to fight to the landmark and interact with it. The landmark will be protected by barricades, wall reinforcements, a few traps, as well as a squad of Carrie's Legion soldiers. After you trigger the landmark, a new wave spawns at the next landmark, and you fight your way to that one. If you're a defender, same idea, but once you reach the landmark, you have to secure the area, so you reinforce the walls or barricade the doors, you lay your own traps, then interact with the landmark and defend it from a wave of enemies, and repeat this for each landmark. This does 4 things at once. It offers a simple and carefree warm-up, it helps new players learn the maps and where to reinforce, it acts as a sort of replacement for Terrorist Hunt, and it would be fun. If Ubisoft really doesn't want to do that, at the very least let us play as attackers and defenders on the same team. That would at least be kinda cool if we could have Warden running around with Ash or Zofia and Ella on the same side. That alone would make the mode have some replayability, even if it didn't have an objective and was just that, a simple aim trainer. If you're not going to do anything crazy with the mode, at least let us do some wacky stuff you can't do in normal Siege with attackers and defenders on the same side. To leave my final thoughts on Operation Tenfold, I honestly think Ubisoft did a good job overall. The map rework is fun, the new mode is fine, and it shows they listened. The AI mode is actually kind of fun now. I think they did a good job. At least on PS5. If they keep making seasons like this, I think they can turn this game around a little bit.